Welcome to Retro USA Memories, where we bring back the sounds, sights, and stories of the golden years in America. Today, we're taking a stroll down memory lane to revisit part two of 20 things from the 1960s that kids today just wouldn't understand. But you and I, we lived them. Let's go back. Green stamps. They were green, sticky, and surprisingly exciting. In the 1960s, shoppers across America collected S&H green stamps, little rewards given by participating stores with each purchase. You'd get a handful of stamps with your receipt, go home and paste them neatly into a booklet. It became a game. Fill the book, flip the catalog, and pick your prize, anything from a toaster to a lawn chair. Families would sit together, carefully licking and pressing each stamp in page after page. Kids helped dreaming about the electric fan or picnic set they wanted. When a booklet was full, you'd take it to a redemption center, kind of like a real-life Amazon, but with stamps instead of money. Green stamps taught thrift, delayed gratification, and the joy of getting something for free. And oh, that catalog! It was glossy, colorful, full of promise. Flipping through it felt like flipping through dreams. Adding machines with paper rolls. Before computers and calculators took over, adding machines ruled the desks of every secretary, accountant, and small-town shop owner, big, clunky, loud. These mechanical beasts used rolls of paper to print your math as you typed. You'd enter numbers using chunky keys, pull a handle, or press a giant button, and out came the total. Click, clack, ka-chunk. There was no delete key. If you made a mistake, you crossed it out and started over. Fast fingers mattered. Accuracy mattered even more. Many kids got their first exposure to grown-up math by watching a parent or teacher punch numbers into these machines. The sound alone was iconic. A room full of adding machines sounded like a newsroom, all rhythm and calculation. Some people grew to love the ritual, the sound, the physical connection to each number. And at the end of the day, you'd tear off the tape, fold it up, and slide it into a drawer, proof of your work, one digit at a time. Pull tab soda cans. Remember when opening a soda meant ripping off the tab entirely. In the 1960s, soda cans came with pull tabs, little aluminum rings that you'd yank to open the can, which completely detached from the can itself. It was quick, simple, and terribly messy. People threw the tabs on beaches and parks, even in pools. Kids cut their feet on them. Parents warned us not to swallow them accidentally, and yet everyone used them. They were modern, sleek, even kind of fun. Some kids even collected the tabs, stringing them into chains or bracelets. Pull tabs were a symbol of the fast-changing consumer world. Convenient, disposable, and in hindsight, a bit reckless. By the late 70s, stay-on tabs became standard for safety and environmental reasons. But ask anyone over 50 and they'll remember that clink-pop of opening a cold soda under the summer sun. Soda fountains as hangouts. Long before Starbucks or Wi-Fi cafes, there was the soda fountain, usually found inside a drugstore or corner shop. Soda fountains were the heart of a neighborhood. Red stools, chrome counters, a jukebox humming softly in the corner. You'd slide in order, a chocolate malt or cherry coke, and chat with the soda jerk, the guy behind the counter who mixed drinks, made sandwiches, and knew everyone's name. Teenagers came to flirt, grandparents came to talk, kids came to treat themselves after school. The soda fountain was more than a drink stop. It was a social hub, a mini-town square. First dates started here. Friendships bloomed here. And let's not forget the sundaes, banana splits, or the clinking of glass. Coke bottles. By the 1970s, most soda fountains faded away as chain stores took over, but To those who remember, that red vinyl seat still waits in our memories at least.
When there was one place to go
Encyclopedias for school reports. Before Google, before Wikipedia, we had encyclopedias, thick, heavy volumes lined in matching leatherette, neatly stacked in living rooms or school libraries. When a report was due, you didn't search, you went to the volume, flipped carefully, and read. Encyclopedias taught more than facts. They taught how to look things up, how to skim and summarize, how to ask the right questions. Many families saw owning a full encyclopedia set as a sign of pride, even sacrifice. Salesmen would go door to door selling World Book or Britannica, and it wasn't cheap. But those books became trusted companions. The faded pages, the cross-references, the little diagrams of volcanoes or medieval castles, they made the world feel reachable. Some kids even flipped through them, just for fun. A random letter, a random fact, and suddenly you'd spent hours learning about Greek myths, or the Great Lakes. Encyclopedias weren't fast, but they were rich and they were real. Typewriter ribbons, clack, clack, ding. That was the sound of getting things done in the 60s. Typewriters weren't just office tools, they were part of daily life. And to make them work, you needed ribbons, spools of inked fabric that fed through the machine. Ribbons were messy, they dried out, they smudged. They had to be threaded just right, or nothing would appear on the page. Sometimes you'd flip the ribbon and use the other side. Sometimes you'd use a two-color ribbon, red and black, for emphasis or headings, and when the ribbon snapped mid-sentence, well, you cursed softly, reached for a pencil, and got to work fixing it. Many writers, students, and secretaries remember their favorite brand of ribbon, just like people remember pens now. That smell of fresh ink, the black fingertips, the little metal tin that held a spare ribbon. They're all part of the tactile beauty of a time when words were typed, not tapped.
From one school to another, where preparation means oiling your pogo stick.
Before iPads, there was the pogo stick. A simple spring-loaded contraption
all over the country,
that brought
everyone's
hours
jumping.
of laughter and more than a few bruised knees. In the 1960s, pogo sticks were a backyard staple. Kids would challenge each other. How many jumps can you do? Some made it to 10. Others hit 50. A few legends in the neighborhood broke 100. You didn't need batteries, no screens, just balance, rhythm, and garden guts. Pogo sticks weren't just toys. They were tests of will. You fell, you got up, and you tried again. Parents loved them because they wore kids out. Kids loved them because, well, they were fun. There was a kind of freedom in bouncing up and down your driveway on a summer afternoon, and there were urban myths, too. Kids who supposedly jumped for an hour straight, or broke a window while bouncing too close to the porch. Today you might see one gathering dust in a garage, but for those who grew up in the 60s, the pogo stick is still a symbol of pure, unplugged joy. Using a hose to clean the driveway. Long before pressure washers and long before water restrictions, we cleaned our driveways with a good old garden hose. On weekends, dads in crisp white undershirts would unwind a heavy green hose, screw on the brass nozzle, and spray the sidewalk until it shined. It wasn't about dirt, really. It was about rhythm and ritual, a way to care for your home, your space, your little patch of the American dream. Some folks did it barefoot. Kids helped by sweeping puddles with push brooms. The smell of wet concrete baking under the sun was oddly satisfying. Nobody worried about water waste. Nobody thought it odd to spend an hour making the sidewalk sparkle. In hindsight, it was peaceful, meditative. A moment when things slowed down and the neighborhood felt like a village. You might not see it often anymore, but the memory of that steady spray and warm morning sun, it's still there, clear as day. Carbon paper. Carbon paper was messy, it smudged, it stained your fingers, but for decades it was the only way to make a copy. You'd place a sheet of carbon paper between two blank pages. Whatever you wrote or typed on the top page appeared on the bottom one. Secretaries used it, writers used it, kids used it for school reports. The feeling of peeling back the copy to reveal a perfect second page, faint but readable, was oddly satisfying. If you were lucky, your teacher accepted the copy. If not, you retyped the whole thing. The sound of carbon paper pulling away from fresh ink, the smell of the dye, the constant worry. Did the pressure go through? It was low-tech magic and a big leap from writing by hand 100 times. Carbon paper wasn't flashy, but it was essential. And for those of us who used it, it was part of growing up. The TV sign-off anthem. Let's end where the day used to end with the TV sign-off. Around midnight, after the last variety show or movie rerun, a familiar scene appeared, the American flag waving proudly, the Star-Spangled Banner swelling in the background. Sometimes, grainy footage of Mount Rushmore parades or soldiers marching across the screen, then silence, a color test pattern, or the haunting static of a sleeping channel. For millions, this was more than just TV going off air. It was a cultural moment, a nightly pause, a shared breath. Kids would wake up to that buzzing tone after falling asleep on the carpet. Parents would turn off the set with a click and say, "Time for bed." It was patriotic, soothing, strangely reassuring. In today's non-stop world, that final note that fades to black reminds us that once even television said goodnight. If these memories brought a smile to your face, you're not alone. Here at Retro USA Memories, we celebrate the little things that made growing up in mid-century America so unforgettable. Be sure to subscribe, share this video with a friend, and drop a comment with your favorite memory from the 60s. Until next time, keep those memories alive and never forget where we came from.